New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Yes, well, hi, hello. It's me. Yes, me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time here with me, I am just here to help you understand and move through grief. And if you are returning, I'm truly honored. So we'll continue the dialogue of moving through grief. And I just want to say, I am a grief coach, a registered nurse, a religious science practitioner, and a licensed soul collage facilitator. And I just want to assure you that you have come to the right place today to help you if you're starting your personal grief journey, if you're in the middle. But the way to move through and continue is by befriending grief, understanding that grief is a human experience. It is a part of the human experience. Knowing that it is loss that leads us to grief. Grief is not just with the death of a dear loved one, but it is your own personal losses. I call them living losses. That a divorce, a job that didn't manifest, a loss of a home, a loss of a lifestyle, surgeries, anything that move us from our normal lifestyles that we can't go back to. And that's what pushes us or puts us in grief. And knowing that the superpower, I'm here to assure you, the superpower of grief is healing. So we will talk a little bit more. I just want to say also there's a great quote that I love by Bell Hooks that talks about we can't heal in isolation. And that's why this program exists, so that you no longer feel isolated, knowing that grief needs to be validated. Grief needs to be heard. So that's what we do in community here. So know that you're part of this program today. Make this your personal time to drop a comment or question in our comment box. Be a part of this, knowing that I am here for you. And with that said, I just wanted to offer condolences to a country that's in grief and mourning today, and that is the UK. I want the UK to know that my heart is with you today. And this is what is referred to as a collective grief, because it touches all of us, not just the UK. Flags are flying half-staff in the US. I'm in Mexico, and there are things that are happening here as well. So the Queen's death or transition affects the entire world. And also yesterday, we celebrated 9/11. So that gives us what's known as cumulative grief. There's so many losses that we're experiencing and putting us in grief. And no, there's both that's working us today. There's cumulative grief and there's the collective grief. And I want you to know that's a lot. That's a lot for all of us to carry. Let's lighten the load by sharing with each other. And I always start with be kind and gentle with yourself and to yourself. Because when you're kind and gentle with yourself, it's so much easier to be kind and gentle with others. So I want to move into, I thought I would share a little bit with you about navigating the waters of sudden loss. And I was talking to a friend last night and just saying, yes, the sudden loss of the Queen. And my friend said, oh, but goodness, she was 96 years old. And what would you expect? It's like, that is very true, that she was a mature woman. An advanced aged woman, rather. But we had not been hearing anything on the news or any information that said she was ailing, that death was imminent, that things are happening here. We just, well, for me, just happened to hear on a soundbite from a news clip that was going by that Queen Elizabeth died. And it gave me pause. It just kind of took me back for a minute. Like, oh my goodness. Here's what I'll say that I say when things like that happen. It's like, oh my goodness, the Queen died. Man, she had reigned for 70 years. It's like, if the Queen could die, that means I could die. It puts us in touch with our own mortality. That one day we too will make that transition. So it just gave me pause when I heard that. And I just want you to understand why that could have given you pause. We mourn or grieve the loss of popular figures that are in the news. And we do that because they have a part in our own history, part of our development. Maybe, I'll use myself. I remember reading in the paper one day, there was a picture showing that the Queen was driving her grandkids to school. And I thought, oh my goodness, she's the Queen. Doesn't she have somebody that could take and pick up those kids? Because I know what a responsibility that is, doing the drop off and pickup. But for me in that moment, that made her human for me. It said, wow, she wants to be involved in her grandchildren's lives. So for me, my personal experience, it just endeared her to me. So you think about that, even if I know it can be a political hot topic, but that's not what we're here for today. We're here to experience what we feel, to know that it's okay to feel what you're feeling. So that's my objective with bringing this out today. I was going to say, sometimes when we're dealing with a sudden loss like this, it's truly shocking. And I want to give just 5 tips or 5 ways to move through sudden loss. So you can take this information to use for the Queen's passing, or taking it into your personal life. Or if you know someone today who's suffering from another sudden loss on a personal level, that's really impacting their lives, you can share that information with them. So I want to just offer you these 5 tips. And a doula for grief also needs a doula for grief. So I follow it's Healthy Mornings, Healthy Mornings, but MOURNING.com that I just love the work that they're doing. And so I can give credit to them for that. And so the first thing to realize when you hear of a loss that's really shocking and sudden is to realize that your brain just kind of turns off. You hear so many people talk about being in a fog or not feeling quite grounded and settled. It's because that's your brain is protecting you. You've gotten some shocking information. And so that you're not overwhelmed, things just kind of shut down. And then little by little, information or more emotions come through as this fog or numbed state wears off. And the second is knowing that it is a collective grief, that we all are affected by this. And I did do a show a couple months ago strictly devoted to cumulative grief. And the idea with cumulative grief is to connect with others. And this is one of those times that social media and platforms such as Facebook and others can be of help to allow you to just purge or to remember the good, the bad, it just in that social media way. And for me, it was like watching a little bit more of the news to see what I could gather and helping my brain kind of register this and accept it. And the other thing that you can do is call your friends, get with folks, and share your own queen stories. You know how we all have that wave, they call it the queen wave, yes. So get with others and share those stories. Those are truly healing as well. And you can laugh, you can cry, you can have just interesting dialogue, because that is what really allows us to move through grief, is speaking it, giving it a voice. And then don't forget to take some quiet time for you. Remember when I said be kind and gentle to yourself? This is what this quiet time is. Quiet and just go within and honor what's there. And the last tip for navigating sudden loss or a collective loss is knowing that sacred ceremony is there to honor and to acknowledge that the queen has died. To honor it, to acknowledge, yes, she did transition. This is not the time for the farewells and goodbye. This is the time that you acknowledge that loss and be with it. So, as I said, take this information, use it for yourself. And if you're not finding that you need it, I bet you know someone else that does. So please, yes, just take that in. Just take that in for now. That we are all going through what is called a collective grieving process and mourn in the ways that feels right for you. So thank you for listening to that, and I know that this will help you, and not you, someone else. Pass it on to someone else. Oh, I have a great show today lined up. I have a fantastic guest that I can't wait to share with you. So we'll take a break and come back. So just breathe. Just breathe during the break and relax and come back ready to hear my very, very special guests.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Yes, so welcome back. Oh, thank you. So today's topic is the loss of identity. A loss of identity can leave you feeling lost, L-O-S-T. Who am I if I am not Bonnie the grief coach or Bonnie the registered nurse? Who am I? Can just leave one feeling truly lost. And I just have the best guests with just wonderful life experiences to help us see clearly how our identity can cause major changes in our lives. So today I'm just honored to have a superstar here on New Thought Media Network. And her name is Gina Colvario Krupka. And her bio is just rich. She is blessed to be a wife, proud mother of 2, and grandmother of 4. And I'm feeling super blessed to have her on the show today. Gina has received her certification of ministerial education from the Holmes Institute, School of Consciousness Studies, and the School of Spiritual Leadership. And she's also a religious science practitioner, soon to be minister. She is the spiritual director of Centers for Spiritual Living, Greater Boston, which has hybrid services. You can attend online and in person. Gina is also one of the rock stars right here, as I said, on New Thought Media Network. She is a proud member of the prayer team on New Thought Media, and she hosts and produces 2 shows weekly, The Prayer Circle and Finding the Joy in the Journey. Gina is the founder of Believe in You Today. She's a certified life coach, published author of 3 books, and a motivational speaker with over 25 years of experience in speaking, coaching, training, and workshop facilitation. Her passion is helping people realize their potential and live happy and fulfilled lives. And she is available for private spiritual coaching, training, and workshops. Welcome. Help me welcome Gina to our show today. Gina, thank you for your patience.
You are so kind. You are just too kind, God bless you.
Oh, I am anything but kind, Gina. If anything, I am honest, okay? So, oh my gosh, Gina, thank you so much. And I welcome you to Your Doula for Grief. And
it's a blessing to be here. I love what you do. I love the gift that you are. You You know, Bonnie, you absolutely, this is such an important topic on so many levels. It is
Yes.
so important that we, that we address all of our emotions, not just the ones that we want to see, because the ones that we don't talk about are the ones that are ruling our choices in our lives.
Mm-hmm. And also, Gina, when we block any emotions, especially if it's those that we feel are less than desirable, especially if it's sadness, sadness, a feeling of being defeated. If we don't honor those feelings, we block the joy, the happiness, the very things that we really want. So we shut down. So yes, so that's why I'm here to say, talk about it, so you can really be, move through it, put it behind you.
It's important. It's so important that we remember that, that it's there whether we try to deny it or not. Denial doesn't make it go away. It
Mm.
just plants it in deeper.
Oh, okay, I'll use that. It just pushes it down deeper, makes it harder to get
And
it up.
sprouts. And then we get roots that we think we've plucked out the source, but we didn't. It was just the surface stuff.
Yes,
And, we don't, we have those from when we're from childhood. We don't need to add them as we go along.
yes. The thing about as we're going along is to be more awareness around us, more awareness.
But
Um,
we can't know what we've never been taught. So
yeah,
if we're surrounded by people that have never addressed grief or never acknowledged it, or just said it was something that we go through and you're done now, then
mhm,
we are going to act like we think we're supposed to, and
yeah.
it's one emotion that there is no supposed to.
Hmm. I do appreciate that. And thinking about that is that we are taught how to do things. We're taught how to go out and buy a car. We're taught how to have a bank account. We're taught so many things, to bake bread. But does anyone ever teach us how to breathe? Does anyone teach us how to breathe?
Some cultures, absolutely.
And
Some. I mean, I'm Italian, and
oh, well, good.
so back in I can remember my great grandmother wearing black until she died. I
Oh,
can remember my grandmother. I want to say it might have been 10 years after my grandfather transitioned. She was still in black whenever she went
right,
anywhere. So people do it in their own ways, but
right.
in our society, it's not. It's not. You get 3 bereavement days for most of them,
Oh,
if you get any. And it has to be the closest of people, and you might get 3. And
exactly.
it shows the level of importance in our society.
I wanted to ask you, Gina, you were talking about your grandma wearing black. Did she explain to you in any terms that you remember that helped you connect the
When
most with her wearing black?
Well,
Or most?
in growing up in my, a very Italian family, I mean, literally first floor was my aunt, second floor was my grandparents, third floor was us, basement apartment was my uncle and his wife. 3 out of
Right.
4 kids lived in the building. And it was, I look back now and I appreciate a lot of the ties as far as that went. There was a lot of honor in it. You remembered anniversaries. You knew when they were coming up. You knew and appreciated. And my aunts, and I have family members that still do that. Truly know when it's every anniversary there's a mass said for the person,
Mm-hmm.
in honorarium of them. And there's a much richer, a much deeper level of appreciation for their
Yeah.
memory
Yes.
than
Yes.
there is in my opinion of what we carry now.
Mm-hmm.
There,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I always say we live in a society of bigger, better, faster, more.
Oh,
And
we go.
in that speed of living, we do not take the time for the sacred. And
Mm.
if there's one thing grief is, any type of grief, it is sacred. It is
Mm.
the depth of emotion to our core.
Yes.
And in honoring that gives us an opportunity to take back our strength.
Yes, to see our own resilience, so to speak. And I was going to say, you were saying living in a culture, bigger, faster, better, whatever.
Bigger, better, faster, more.
Yes. We also are living in that culture. What is that? Positive toxicity. That you just got to be positive and upbeat no matter what.
Well, we call it spiritual bypass in New Thought.
Yeah. And
It's BS is what it really is. It really, sorry if I've offended anyone, but that's what
we're all adults here.
It really is. It's not, I understand we need to be positive, and I understand, that there is life is eternal. But, my sister left this plane 15 years ago. I have not hugged my sister in 15 years.
Yeah.
And while I can speak to her and I can know she's in a better place than the pain she was in when she was here, I miss her all the time.
Yeah.
I miss what I didn't do with her. I miss watching her raise her own children. There's grief in every aspect of it. And that wasn't done in a 3-day work extension.
Oh, yes. 3 day, 3 month, 3 years. Come on.
It's never over. It's forever. It's what you grieve what you didn't get to do with them at times. And it doesn't mean that I don't have plenty of joy in my life. Of course I do. And I still am allowed the emotion of whatever is.
Yes.
Emotions aren't wrong. Those are our intuition. We were born with that. Factory ready. We were born with that gear that tells us how we're meant to be. And then you shouldn't feel that way. What does that even mean? You shouldn't feel that way.
Well, what way should I feel?
All of my life I've been told how I should feel. And now I realize, no, I feel how I feel. Yes,
Gina. And speaking of feeling what you feel, I really wanted to share your story of that loss of identity. Because so many people feel that that only death can bring you to a certain emotional state. But I want to talk about other losses in our lives that bring us to that same emotional state.
There are many types of grief that can just knock you to your knees. I have had, for me, I went through a loss of a job that was taken away instantly and in a horrible way. And that feeling of betrayal, that feeling of instant loss. See, when someone transitions, when someone dies, I didn't do that. I didn't cause that. There was something there was nothing I could have done. But when someone that I love and trusted treated me like that, I was broken.
Yes.
And anyone that's ever experienced heartbreak, anyone that's ever experienced loss of a home, there's so many layers of grief that come with that. And yes, part of it is not knowing who you are if you're not that role.
Exactly, Gina. That's what I want to talk about. How do you find or reclaim? Maybe it's not even about reclaiming. More into transitioning into, as we always say in science, into your next greatest be, because that's what it feels like it's moving you forward. But you tell me from your experience if you feel that's true.
I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I don't have to like the reason.
Yes.
But I do believe that everything seemingly good or seemingly bad happens for a reason. That's where my faith comes in. That there is a deeper purpose. And sometimes the deeper purpose may be that I get to teach other people from this pain. I can carry and help people through what I've been through so that they don't have to hurt like I did. Maybe that's the purpose. See, if I take it and I do nothing with it, what good was it? But if I can share it with someone, if I can lighten their burden, then even that is a tremendous gift. So I guess the view that I've had a lot of my life, and it took me years of work and, self-discovery. Now I'll call it that, but it was work. A lot of it was just work to
Right.
get to the knowing that I only accepted myself if you accepted me. I found my worth, and I think a lot of, especially women, find their worth through what they do more than the divinity that they are. So if
say that again, Gina. Just say that one more time. I need to hear that to pass on.
I think too often we find our worth by what we do, not by the divinity of who we truly are. See, we were born worthy. We were born as divine. We are born this way. Yes. This yesterday's topic in CSL for the global of CSL was creating a life, creating a life that's worthwhile. Yes. And the truth is, you were born that way. You didn't have to create it. It was given to you. Now, yes. What do we do with it? And the first thing is to realize it, that if I did nothing for anyone, I'm worthy.
Yes.
I don't have to prove myself to spirit. I don't have to prove myself to anyone. And when I realize that, there's a peace that is allowed. Mm-hmm. When we love our children, there's an unconditional love there. There's meant to be. I don't love you just if your grades are good. I don't love you, if you were to have a mental illness. Well, you're not perfect. I'm not going to love you now. I love you more because I know and I love and care for you, and I am showing you your own divinity. Yes. I love you all the more when you're not feeling your best self, because I want you to feel that, because I see it of you. It's time for us to see it of us, and not in the equation of what I own, what I've accomplished, what I do. Mm-hmm. Not the roles, but because we were born that way.
Gina, I so resonate with that. It sounds like your faith was a big part of this healing. But I want to ask you, how did you deal with that sense of betrayal, as you said, that now who can you trust? Because that so happened that we use this one experience to say, oh, now I just can't trust anybody ever again. So how did you move through those?
For me, it was wrapped in a whole lot of different types of grief. It just happened that it happened a month before my father really declined. 2 months before he transitioned. And my mom almost transitioned right after it, and then I was diagnosed with cancer. Wow. So there was a time of a good year that was devastating, because I really lost everything. I felt like everything had been taken out from under me, and it just compiled on top of each other. Now, the people that you go to work with every day, for your average job, you see the same people every day. Yeah. There's a comfort in that. There's a routine in that. And when you're a supervisor or a manager, I ran the office. Mm-hmm. So in that, I had, in the time that I had been there, in 6 years, we went from, literally 3 to 18. Wow. And I had over 100 people coming in every week to see, if not just me, I was the head of the program, and I was the one that handled all the problems, and it was constantly watching for emails and anything that came up, running an office, all of the busyness, and there was the other part of busyness that we don't look at is, what are we hiding?
What are we running away from as well?
What's under the rug that we're not paying attention to because we didn't have time for?
Right.
So now all of the people that I cared about and saw every day, and all of these responsibilities that I had, were no longer there.
Right. And so who is Gina?
I was a raw emotion. I was a raw nerve.
Wow.
And I was angry at God.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I get mad at God all the time. I'm not gonna lie.
How did you deal with that? Well, weren't you waiting for that thunderbolt to come out of the sky?
No, we don't believe in that.
I
don't believe in that. And
I'm just saying, so many people do. That's what they think, and they think They can't be angry with God if that's their belief. Mine is that if God is the creator of all, God can handle it. If anybody can handle it, it would be God.
I use the one mind? Do you think he doesn't know? He knows exactly how I feel. Am I going to pretend?
Exactly, Gina.
Oh, I was mad. I was hurt. I was angry. I was devastated. Here I am trying to live a life that helps people, and this is what I get. Oh, self-righteous indignation, pity. Oh, I was victim. I was the victim. There is no power in being the victim. Doesn't matter, and you can't see it until you're ready to see it. But I was the victim, and it doesn't mean that I didn't have the right to play it. I had the right to be in the pity party. I had the right to feel, but there's no power and it's no fun. So
you had justification. You were justified.
Oh, I was right. I found a lawyer. I was right. Like, I was self-righteous indignation. I'm great at it, but it's not helpful at all. You can be right or you can be happy. And it took me years to be in that place of choosing to be happy and choosing to be happy and choosing to be happy until finally it didn't own me anymore. You know, in the 12-step programs, one of the things they teach you is if there's somebody that you're resentful at, pray for them. And when you're really in a place of hurt, betrayal, anger, that's a tough one. But when it's easy to pray for them, you know there's a healing that went on.
I have practiced Buddhism for a long time, along with my science of mind. I have a big toolbox. But I just remember in our Buddhist practice, it's like always chant for that person's happiness that has caused you deep pain. But this is the other caveat. You can find yourself saying, I don't want to chant for their happiness. I don't want them to be happy. So the response in that situation is, then chant that one day your heart will soften and you will want to do that. And I think it gives you that to honor. I mean, when we're angry with someone, anger is an indication for us. It's a marker. It's a blinking light that a boundary has been crossed for you. A boundary has been crossed. And that's where the anger. So looking inward to see that boundary, but I'm going to let you finish.
No, it's a tough one. It's really, and there's so much, sometimes it's so deep rooted and it's so devastating. It seems, well, they got away with it and they're going to be able to, and they're moving on and they're fine and I'm not. And all of these stories that we tell ourselves, but my true worth is divine.
Oh,
no one can take it from me. And if all I am associating myself with is the outer world, I'm missing the jewels. We live from the inside out in what we do. And when we do that, the water is still at the bottom of the ocean. There is peace. At the top, anything can come by and knock us down. But we are centered in and as spirit. That's where the good stuff is. Love, peace, health, oneness, joy. You know, I want that. And when I don't feel that, I told you my analogy of the rumble strip. Life is just like you're driving a car.
Yes.
When you're veering off into that negative stuff, you feel bad. That's the rumble strip of life, telling us to seek an alternate route. It's time for us to veer back towards center, this center. You know, that is where when we live from that, it's not that things don't affect us. They do, but they don't do it in the same way.
Yes.
And we honor them differently.
And I want to make 2 points, and I'm trying to decide which one first. Because I do believe that as we move through life, we do grow and evolve, and raising our own consciousness, growing. back then, when that happened, where were you in your spiritual practice, or did you even have a spiritual practice?
I had just, well, it's funny because they'll tell you when you start practitioner 1, your whole life explodes.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yes.
This started the week before. And that's when I ended up with all of these things that then happened. So the transition of my dad, almost losing my mom. I was in the middle of prac 1 and I was diagnosed with over a dozen tumors in my kidneys, knowing that I'd need surgery. And they were, both kidneys. So there was so many emotions and so much happening. And the truth is, spirit, I knew that the environment had become toxic. I knew it. When we get to the truth, it's a different story. But I was going to look at it. I knew I had signs to leave. I knew this was no longer the environment for me, but I couldn't do it. I love these people. I was attached in it, and I'm like, I just couldn't. And eventually the universal 2x4 hits you.
Oh, and I try to avoid that.
So now, I try, but I'm still.
Yes, but it still finds you.
It does. I'm not going to lie. So it's trying to, we try to do the best that we can. And in hindsight, as a result of that, I had time for my practitioner studies. I had time to be with my father before he transitioned, and to be with my stepmother and be the person that I wanted to be for them, available to them to the best of my ability, where I wouldn't have otherwise. In spirit, even in the midst of it, I was sitting on my couch at a practitioner session that someone was with a practitioner for me. When I got a knock on the door, a constable, that they were taking me to court. Like, you talk about how spirit works. I've had the miracles, I was sure I was going to be healed and I wasn't going to need surgery, but I needed surgery. And I was surprised. I really was. And I opened my eyes the next morning because they had kept me out all night. I opened my eyes the next morning, and there's someone that I went through practitioner with, who is also a minister of another faith, said that was there literally within 5 minutes of me opening my eyes the next morning. So I thought you might need me.
Wow.
So spirit gave me every tool when I allowed it. It doesn't mean I wasn't still mad that I had to go through it.
Right.
But if we allow and put ourselves in the right place, everything we need comes to us.
Right. Can you imagine having gone through this without a spiritual practice?
No.
Because
my faith is my life raft, everything in life. I've had a lot of trauma, drama, a lot of stuff, especially the past 15 years. And there is no way. I have never known the best is yet to come. I said that to my doctor. I said, and we'll talk another time about, loss of physical ability.
Right. Yes.
When I did wake up from those surgeries, I had no use from the neck down. So we'll talk about that another time. But
I was going to say that's absolutely terrifying.
It's all spirit that carried me in every moment. It's who I am at my core. And the most devastating thing to me, bar none, is when I'm mad at God. Because when I really am in that place, I'm in despair. Because if I don't have spirit, I have nothing. My faith has carried me to and through everything. And when I am in that place of mad at God, then I'm in despair. And that feels horrible. My faith lifts me and carries me through. And it never promises it's going to be easy.
Right.
Effortless, even though that's what I pray for most of the time.
Oh, yes, we all want that.
But the truth is, on the other side, I see how I was carried. And I see the purpose.
So with that said, Gina, and I know we have listeners that may be searching for a spiritual, how do you guide them? What do you say to them if they're saying they don't have a spiritual practice. I have one friend I was inviting her somewhere, and she said, "Oh, I can't go there. They'll be talking about God." And I said, "Well, if you have an aversion to the G word, you don't have to worry about it. They don't use the G word." But in that moment, I wanted to say to her, I wanted to quote, what is that? The Martin Luther King? If you don't believe in something, you'll fall for anything. So anyway, I'll let you address how you would guide someone.
All of your misery will be refunded at the door. If it doesn't work for you and you didn't enjoy it, all of your misery will be returned. What do you have to lose?
Put that down, Gina.
What do you have to lose? If you're miserable now, what do you think it's going to do? And it's a choice. Some people, I've known people that are not okay unless they're not okay.
Yes.
They live through the drama. They live off of the drama. Mm-hmm. That's their drug. Just like people have addictions to all kinds of things, some people, it's the drama. They love telling the story, and they love their story to be worse than anyone else's. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's not about comparing.
No.
The most important thing that we remember is when we hear ourselves, to listen, first of all, hear ourselves. If I'm the victim, I'm not the victor, and I'm not happy. Wow. So what is your choice in life? What is your choice? Mm-hmm. Are you a victim or a victor? I don't even like the word survivor. I won't use that. I am not a cancer survivor. I thrive. Screw you.
Okay. Post-cancer. Yes.
Surviving. That's not the, I'm not limiting my good.
Wow. Yes.
It's not, if you bring a cup to the ocean, you have a cup. If you bring a bucket, you'll have a bucket. If you jump in because there's no limit, it's all yours, you enjoy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So bring that to life.
That's a beautiful image, Gina.
Just jump in. The water's fine.
Come on in. Yes, the water's fine.
Here's the life raft.
The spiritual life can be, oh my gosh, so all-encompassing. For me, it just keeps that beacon of light shining truly bright.
If somebody has a spiritual connection, if there's light shining from them. I have never known anyone that had light in their eyes that wasn't connected to spirit in some way.
Well, my light is, I've got lots of lights on, my ring light.
You radiate. Your smile radiates. You radiate light. And there are people, you see them and you can feel it. They're the ones you want to be around. They're warm, they're inviting, they're comfortable. You choose who you spend your time with.
Oh, Gina, thank you saying that, to say that. Choose who you spend your time with.
Your thoughts, your words, your actions, what you read, anything. You're responsible. And we're not in a society that takes responsibility for anything.
Yes, it's always somebody else.
Choose.
Yes.
What's your intention? Is it to be a lemming and go along with the crowd? Because there's plenty of them out there.
Yes.
Or do you choose to be happy?
Oh, that's beautiful, Gina. When you say a choice, I've been, I'll tell this just quickly. In the past, I was a single parent, and life was full. I'll put it that way. Life was full. I would wake up in the morning, but I would feel fine when I woke up. And I would say to myself, oh my goodness, there's something I should be worried about. I would go down a long laundry list until I found it. And then I would hit on it. It's like, oh yeah, you don't know if you're going to be able to go to this thing, and it's going to come. I could, anyway, fast forward to now. When I wake up in the morning, I know I have choice. And I say, today I choose to be in joy. Today I choose to feel love and be love, radiate love. For me,
and you do.
I have a choice. Yes, I have a choice, and I want to encourage everybody to realize that, or cultivate it. If you don't have it, just start. Everything starts with awareness. Everything starts with awareness.
We get to be here. We
Yeah.
get to choose again and again and again. And if yesterday didn't go the way you wanted, start new. It's not always going to be perfect. Nobody promised you that it was, I don't know, maybe they did. I know spirit, when we're in the right mindset, we get in the flow and it flows.
Yes.
You're responsible to get there and stay there. If you don't plant the seed, it cannot grow. It's just that simple. A farmer will not just wait for it to happen.
Yes, you can't. You can't.
It's just eventually there'll be carrots. No, there won't. There will not be.
Yes, you got to work it.
You will never get them unless you go to the grocery store.
You've got to work at it.
Everything takes planting the seeds and cultivating those seeds, plucking out the weeds of fear, doubt, and insecurity, blocking out anything that's harmful, that doesn't serve, and then you harvest.
Yes.
That's the way it works in life, and we get to choose. So you find people that are radiating the light at the frequency that you want, and be with like-minded individuals.
Yes.
And if people are not bringing the joy, then choose again. There's plenty of people in my life that I love and I care for, but I don't need to be around them a lot.
Yes.
So we get a choice. So I invite people to find your tribe.
Yes.
Find people that radiate at the level that you choose to, that bring to the world what you offer.
Yes. Wow, Gina. Thank you. We are almost at time here. There were some things I wanted to say about building resilience, but you know what? I think I'm going to invite you back to discuss those resilient builders, which is not taking things personally, that pervasiveness that we feel like when something happens, it is our entire life that's affected by that, and that this will always be this way. So it's just called the 3 Ps, and I collected that. I read a great book by Sheryl Sandberg, Option B. So I want you to come back. Promise me, Gina.
Absolutely. And I've loved being here. This is a wonderful topic. It's so important. And I'm gonna do a shameful plug.
Oh no, I want to talk about you.
CSL Greater Boston. Thank you for putting that up, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And I want to just say that CSL Boston, we are going to be having Sacred Circles as of October 6th. So every week, every Thursday is just Sacred Conversation. So I invite you to join us. It'll be on our website, Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston. Open to all. It's free, and it's going to be guests every time. So I will put that up there, and I'll send that to you again once we start, because I'd love you to host one.
Oh, I would love to be there. And it's so funny how you have not heard the idea of Sacred Circle at all.
Sacred Circle at 7. That's what it is.
Right. But this is the 3rd time I've heard Sacred Circles, people hosting or being or had a Sacred Circle. So yes.
It's time.
Yeah.
And my shows, I just want to mention, is Thursdays are Finding the Joy in the Journey, where we do just that. We find different ways with different people in different modes to put more joy in our lives so that we can create the lives that we choose. And tonight is the Peace Circle. Tonight's topic is purpose, and it's finding our way to peace from wherever we are, because we are the change we wish to see in the world. And in order to have a more peaceful world, what we put into it has to be greater peace.
Yes.
It's not just going to happen. It's not a wish list kind of thing. If I want greater peace, I have to create greater peace for myself in my own personal relationships, in my own world, and in the world at large. What I put out is what I receive. Right.
And that's in the words of Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world.
Absolutely. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you were just talking about before we went to our plug, that surrounding yourself with people that are speaking the language that your brain needs to stay in. I'll just use the word high vibration, but you need to hear those words, to be in that energy. And I was just going to put a plug in for following Gina. Those are the words that you want to hear. She is that voice that you want to hear, to help.
You're very sweet. Thank you very much.
No. This is just, I am just overjoyed to have had you on the show. We could just, it feels like it's just the beginning. Maybe I'll ask Joe to keep running and we will do the next one. But is there anything that you would like to leave the viewers with about moving through that loss of identity? Just one closing statement.
Who you are is untouchable. The light of divine within you could never, ever, ever be diminished. But it's up to you to find it, to recognize it, to realize it and shine it. And you'll know if you're in the right direction because it feels good. Sometimes you're going to feel crappy. Life happens that way. Stuff happens. You move through it. Don't stop. Don't ever, ever question, will that dark night end? Because it will. And know that you are being carried. There are two sets of footprints until you need it most, and then there's one.
Yes.
Know that there is always, you are surrounded in, through, and as spirit, because there's only one. And in that one, you can never, ever be set astray. So just know that. And when all else fails, just know that you know. Because that life raft of faith will carry you through anything.
Gina, beautiful. Just promise me that you will never stop spreading this beautiful information that people are so hungry for. People turn on the news, but they're turning on.
Well, that's why they come to New Thought Media Network. We have an entire network. We even have the good news on Fridays at 5.
Yes.
We literally have our own news channel. Because the truth is, there's good news out there. There are millions of people living well. There are millions of people loving well. We don't hear about them. It doesn't sell. So they show the one or two things that are going on that show us astray. We are not divided. We are one. And when we are in that and knowing that, we can kind of let the noise fall away. We can pray for it. We can see it. We can recognize truth, and we can shine through.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Gina. Thank you. And with that plug for New Thought Media Network, make a donation so that we can continue to have this type of dialogue that just feeds your soul. So I am just saying thank you, Gina, and thank you to New Thought Media Network. And our beloved Zoe is out there. Zoe says, "Wow, at New Thought Dynamic Duo." Thank you. And
we love you so.
Yeah, he could make the trio. So thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for listening. And as I said, do donate. And tune in later to hear Gina's Peace Circle. Alrighty. So we'll be looking for you then. Thank you so much. Again, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. And ask yourself today, what do I need? What do I need today? And you give yourself that. Thank you so much. And thank you to my producer, Joe. See you next time.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.